All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are talking about negotiation. And I don't mean some scary, high-stakes showdown. Nope, we're talking about negotiation as a skill, a crucial, learnable skill for getting what you actually want and deserve out of life. Think of it as an art. And the good news is, anyone can learn to be an artist.
So, be honest. Does the very idea of asking for a raise make your stomach do a little flip? You know that feeling, right? Walking into your boss's office or staring at a job offer, knowing you need to ask for more. Yeah, it can be totally nerve-wracking.
Well, if that's you, you are in very, very good company. But here's the thing, and it's kind of the whole secret. What if I told you it's not about being pushy or aggressive, it's really just about communication? The whole idea we're digging into here is how using the right words, the right phrases, can completely change the game.
So, okay, why is this so hard for so many of us? Let's peel back the layers on the psychology of why we tend to run away from the talk and what it really ends up costing us.
Here is a perfect example, one I think we can all relate to. You've been searching for a job, you finally get an offer, and the salary is, well, it's okay. It's not what you were hoping for. But that fear kicks in, right? The fear of them saying never mind, the fear of having to start all over again. So you just say yes. That one moment of fear can literally cost you thousands and thousands of dollars over the long run.
To really get our heads in the right space, we need to reframe this whole thing. Negotiation isn't just about getting more money or a better deal. It's about freedom. It's about having a voice. And believe me, some of the most influential leaders in history got this on a deep, deep level.
I mean, just listen to this from Nelson Mandela. He's saying that negotiation is an act of freedom. If you're a prisoner in a situation, and by that he means you feel like you have zero other options, you can't really negotiate. You're just surrendering. This shows just how vital it is to have choices, to have a real alternative.
And what Mandela said leads us perfectly to this super important concept in negotiation theory, your BATNA. It's an acronym. It stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. But all that really means is, what's your plan B? What's the best thing you can do if you walk away from this deal? Knowing your BATNA, truly knowing it, is that freedom Mandela was talking about. It's your ultimate power source. And check out this perspective from John F. Kennedy. It's brilliant because it has two parts. First, he's saying, don't let panic make you sign a bad deal. You know, don't negotiate out of fear. But then, just as important is the second half. But let us never fear to negotiate. Don't let fear stop you from even having the conversation in the first place. Okay, so we're feeling inspired. We're ready to be brave. But what do we actually do? How do we put this into practice? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and build ourselves a proper negotiator's toolkit. The best way to think about this is like a game of chess. It's not just about your next move. A great negotiator is always thinking 2, maybe even 3 moves ahead. It's all about strategy, it's about preparation, and it's about trying to see the board from the other person's side.
And that strategy? It's built on these core traits. Of course, you've got to do your homework, know what you want, be prepared. But look at the rest of these. Aim for a win-win. Be a good listener. Stay flexible. See? This isn't about winning a fight. It's about solving a puzzle together. And honestly, knowing when to walk away is just as powerful as knowing when to push forward.
All right, now we get to my favorite part, the fun stuff. Let's talk about the actual language, the specific words and phrases you can use that turn a tense situation into a productive one. This is where the magic really happens.
The biggest shift you have to make is from sales pitch mode to negotiation mode. A sales pitch is a monologue, right? It's you talking at someone. But real negotiation language is a dialogue. It's about asking open-ended questions and working with them to find a solution. One shuts the door, the other opens it wide.
Let's break a few of these down. This one is so simple but so powerful. Instead of telling them what's next, you ask, how shall we proceed from here? That little word, we, changes everything. Suddenly, it's not you versus them, it's us together figuring out the next step. It's collaborative, it's not pushy, and invites them to help build the path forward.
Okay, here's another game changer, especially when you disagree. I see what you mean. What about if? The first part is so important. You're showing them you heard them, you're validating their point of view. That instantly lowers their defenses. And only then do you gently offer your alternative with a, what about if? It turns a potential argument into a brainstorming session. It's just so much more effective.
Now, this one shows a really cool technique called anchoring. See, in a negotiation, the first number that gets mentioned tends to pull the whole conversation toward it. So instead of just saying, your price is too high, which can sound aggressive, you state a neutral fact, like this one. It sets a realistic benchmark, an anchor, and it makes them have to justify their price against that reality.
So let's put all these pieces together. How does all this, the preparation, the mindset, the magic words, actually look in a real-world scenario?
Take a look at this. A really smart negotiator doesn't just know their side of the table. They've thought about the other person's side, too. Here, the buyer's biggest problem isn't actually the price. It's that their current supplier is unreliable. The salesperson might have a little wiggle room on price, but not on payment terms. Knowing these hidden needs and pressures on both sides, well, that's where you find the win-win.
And that brings us right back to where we started. When you know your goals, when you understand the other side, and when you have the right words in your back pocket, the fear just kind of melts away. Negotiation stops being a battle and starts being what it should be, a constructive conversation.
So I'll leave you with this. Now that you have this new way of looking at things, this new toolkit of phrases, what conversation, what ask are you finally ready to have in your own life?